Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Power Block episode 171, a very special question block episode. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is that retro code, Eddie V.
Question: give me all your nut. Nah, dang it, I messed it up.
Well, you
Hello,
only get
everybody.
you only get one shot, Ed,
I only get one shot,
and you failed miserably. That's what happens when you record two episodes back to back.
Right, and I didn't even get a monster or a snack yet. But hello, everybody.
Yeah, and I'm actually drinking water tonight. I've been feeling myself this week and the past couple weeks drinking a little bit more energy drinks than I probably should have, and so I'm just drinking this water and trying to have a good night tonight. It's gonna be a good night tonight because we're going to record some retro game show. We're going to do some pod and play discussions about the new season that we're going to do on NX, and it's so
It's gonna be a good time.
Yeah. Also, I've been getting some emails about our new name because our YouTube has it and our website, like, it's still codenamenx.com, but the new primary is our new name.com, and it shows it in the menu bar, so it's been leaking. So that's kind of on me, but at the same time I wanted to make sure we locked down those names before, So you can't keep everything a secret. It's the video game industry. You can't keep it a secret,
What people don't know what it really is. It's a temporary name at this time.
I mean, it's not, though.
It's a temporary name at this time.
Oh man, how's your day going, Ed? How's your day? It's been a day.
It's actually got good. Everybody, I did get my car back, so I get to be back on the road. Got some good Chinese food after I got my car. And I kind of been thinking this thing about emotions in the video games, and I'm actually doing an optional opinion for Saturday about it, that it'll be out for so people could give it a listen. But I put a question out there, which is like, can video games trigger way past your emotions? Like, can it trigger your depression, your anxiety, your PTSD? Like, can video games do that, even though that's not the game's intention or anything? And I have some people respond that say some games kind of have moved them and made them cry, but nothing has actually started those things. So hopefully you guys can check that out. Sometimes I talk to myself when I'm thinking this stuff in my head, and so I podcast to myself in my mind, because it's something that when a game triggers you or something, if a game makes you angry, you blame the computer is cheating, you throw your controller, you react in negative and destructive manner if you reach that level of upset and frustration. But I'm just like, is there something like a death that's dying that people can relate to, that because it's something that happened in their family or not? Like, I think one of it, this dragon named Cancer, how the developers, and it's a Wire magazine, and we'll get to the show, I'm sorry everybody, how he made this game kind of to remind him of his son, who was a baby, and how it was kind of therapeutic for him to make this game. And they finished it. I mean, he created and finished it and stuff, but when he was demoing it, people who played it literally cried, because they can't believe that the ending has a meaning and everything, and it's connected to people dealing with cancer and stuff. So it's just like, it's kind of interesting to see if more games do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we've had conversations before about certain games that I won't play because it kind of it gets to me, in certain ways, and I don't want to feel that way, So, but that can be a topic for a different day or something we talk about on Optional Opinion at some point, or you know what I
yeah,
mean? Like that's something I feel like could be explored with a really proper conversation, but yeah, I think if you guys have any good responses to that, we should you know make an episode of something about that. So
yes,
I mean, we do have 2 new podcasts in the works that kind of one of them revolves around one of those like conversational interview style things anyway. So yeah. But anyways, for those who don't know, this is Nintendo Power Block. Each and every week, Ed and I get together to talk about the world of Nintendo's, talk about the games we're playing, news, analysis, rumors, and other shenanigans. You can find Nintendo Power Block on YouTube, Spotify, and your favorite podcast app every Saturday at 7 a.m. Eastern. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at CorianHG713, and you can follow Ed at That Retro Code. And you can check out the NX Show and our other upcoming content. Like I said at the top of the show, we are planning a plethora of content to launch the new year with, and very excited about it.
yes,
Also, I know I mentioned that we were going to give away Pokemon today on this episode, but as I announced last episode, we're going to actually move that giveaway to next week because some things came up. I'm moving, and we're recording this episode almost a week early, so we wouldn't miss a week. And I feel like consistency in the podcast is more important than a giveaway. And if you're looking forward to Pokemon, you can wait a couple days. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yes.
So, but anyways, this episode is gonna be a little bit different, like we said on the last episode. We saved. I think we have 7 questions to answer from
Yes.
Question Block. It might be a little bit shorter episode. It might be a longer episode. I'm not sure, but Ed and I are going to answer your questions that you've been sending us and reached out to us on social media, emails, all that good stuff. So, Ed, we are going to start with Greg Schnabel's question, a loyal listener for a very long time. Very happy to have him in the group and one of the top participants in the NX challenge. So we're gonna start with his question. He asks, simple question: what games do y'all think we'll be getting next year? That's a very difficult question to answer. I mean, we know the first up through like March or April games that we're getting.
yes.
I mean,
Probably up to May.
I mean,
I would say.
in terms of Nintendo first party, we have Tokyo Mirage Sessions, we have Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, we have Animal Crossing.
Xeno is probably later on in the year.
Well, they said Q1, which is March.
Q1?
Yeah. So
before the end of March, or actually
through
in
March. Through March.
Through March. Okay.
Yeah, Q1 is January, February, March.
So Q4 is in December.
Yeah, Q4.
Or
Q4. Well, Q1. It's divided into months. So January, February, March is Q1. April, May, June, Q2. July, August, September, Q3, and then October, November, December is Q4.
Okay.
So
because I think that's probably when they try to end their financial reports and stuff like that.
Usually the fiscal years end in March.
Is in March? Okay.
For some reason, I don't understand why, but yeah.
Well, I think we would get Ori and the Will of the Wisp probably in November or December. I think we would get Shin Megami Tensei 4.
Or is it? It's 5. We haven't seen anything on that game yet.
Yes.
Like, I mean, besides that they announced a Shin Megami Tensei sequel is coming, but like they must have been like just starting development when they announced that, because it's been in January it'll be 3 years since it was announced. It was announced before the
Right.
Switch even came out. So
Right. And we don't, and we are waiting for Japan to get their release, because we know once Japan get their release, then they're working on localization
yeah.
to get that done. Of course, Outer Worlds, we know. They talked about that.
Doom Eternal will be getting next year.
Doom Eternal, yeah. We probably would get some more Bethesda games.
I bet we get a Fallout 3 or New Vegas port next year. Just because I think they're going to experiment more with their older titles on Switch, just because not, or even like an Evil Within port, I think. I think there is still room for horror on Switch. You know, we've gotten the Resident Evil ports and stuff, and we've gotten Outlast and stuff, but there isn't a lot of like quote unquote new horror. And I think the Evil Within is a strong candidate to be ported to Switch at some point.
To actually be honest with you, I agree with you. I agree with you with that. Yes, I think Konami needs to bring Silent Hill. I think it needs to be given to a developer who could really bring out that horror feel to it, or like bring out. I don't want them to bring out the Silent Hill collection that was kind of a disaster on 360 back on the older generation, but I think they could bring like the one that came out for Wii, some of the PSP games or Nvidia games. I think that was one. I think it's time for Konami to be like, let's make a Silent Hill for Switch that is really gonna be like scary. That's really gonna be like a thriller that takes that really uses the HD Rumble and really use the Joy-Con in like really creative ways and stuff.
I could see Silent Hill. You know, remember when they kind of reimagined the first game for Wii with the Wii remote? Like, not that they would do that exact thing for Switch, but they could do a similar thing where like maybe you have to play with the Joy-Cons detached and you know, use the IR sensor as a flashlight, or you know what I mean? Like you could do some pretty cool things. I don't think it's gonna happen, but I mean I like the idea, you know.
Yeah. I think the problem we'll have next year, besides because I don't know when Hollow Knight Silksong comes out. I don't know if that's this year or next year.
No, that'll probably be Q1 next year.
Next year. At this point in time, I don't know what indies is coming. What is that next big indie hit? Because
well, like it's weird. It's weird because like indies will usually like be announced and out within like a month or two. Right. And then like, you know, Nintendo's been really good about having the Nindy showcases, right? To showcase. I mean, that's where we got Untitled Goose Game. That's where we got Katana Zero. So like, you know, I think some stronger indie games are going to be coming.
Do you think there's just some in the works and some that is being edited right now for a Nindy showcase?
Yeah, I think so. Right. Like I think a indie showcase, I think we're due for one, except for the fact that like I know there's probably going to be a Pokemon Direct. We just got a Smash video, 45-minute Smash video. There's always a Pokemon Direct before the game comes out, although the game is out next Friday, so as of this recording. So I mean I doubt we'll be getting one more of those, but like there's always a Direct. Well, maybe now, maybe November, since we didn't get a Pokemon Direct. Maybe November we could get like an indie showcase, and then in December will be a big kind of. We always get a Direct in December after the Video Game Awards. So.
See, I thought last year, I thought we got a Direct in November.
We did. We got a Pokemon. Let's Go Direct.
Did we get a full Direct though?
It was
in November.
It was like one of those 15 or 20 minute ones, I think.
So which would be like the showcase ones? Because that's I think.
I mean, it was just a Pokemon Direct. It didn't have any other games in it or anything.
But was there like a direct, like a regular
Not
Nintendo Direct
not
where there's a
November.
variety of games?
Not in
Okay,
November. In December there was after the Video Game Awards.
okay,
Probably like the week after, I think.
okay. So we know we get Persona 5 Scramble. Um,
Yeah.
Maybe we'll finally get Persona 5.
See, I think that ship has sailed now. Like I think last year with like the Royal being announced, like I think that was a perfect time for them to say, "Hey, the original game's coming to Switch," but instead we're getting this Muso style game. So I don't, I don't think it's in the cards at this point.
And I think that was Atlas and Sega's big mistake of them doing it. And then I
Well, I
think,
think I think Sony just is help funding the game. Like I think that's the reason.
the thing about it is that I don't think Sony is funding it. Um,
Or they have some sort of like marketing deal or something. It's enough. They're putting enough money behind it to where they are keeping maybe they're paying for the exclusivity or something. Like they,
but they're making Scramble for Switch though,
I know,
for PS4
but
and
that's
Switch,
not.
and
I
that's
know, but that's like there's always Persona spin-off games, but there's never a proper.
this one is a sequel though to Persona 5.
Yeah, but it's still a spin-off. It's still a different genre. It's a different take.
I thought it was the same game. I thought it was the
What, the
sequel
Royal?
one. No, I'm talking about Scramble.
No, Scramble is like Hyrule Warriors, Dynasty Warriors style game.
I thought no Royal is
Royal is like the expanded version of 5.
it's this right. Scramble is supposed to be the actual sequel to Persona 5.
But it's not an RPG. It's a Dynasty Warriors hack and slash 100
I
enemies
thought
on
it was
screen at once.
I thought it was literally that's very weird.
Yeah, it's like a streamlined version of the story, I think too. It's not a sequel. It's like a retelling in this style of game.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up there because I must got confused because I know they said this is a sequel to Persona 5, and everybody's thinking that okay when they said sequel for Scramble that it was another regular traditional battle style of Persona 5.
No, it's definitely a Dynasty Warriors game.
Okay.
But I think man, this is really tough because like we know a bunch of cool games that are coming, but Zelda and Metroid and Bayonetta are still TBD. So I'm thinking that those are going to come in 2021 still.
Yeah, there.
I could-
Bayonetta probably could
I could
be
see,
next year.
I could see I could see a Mario Odyssey sequel next year, to be honest with you,
Uh,
or some sort of like either a 2D game or a Mario 3D World. It's some sort of like Mario game is coming next year.
I think once we see the Game Awards, I can definitely agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think we'll see some Wii U ports next year, just to fill out.
Yeah.
I I bet we see Pikmin next year, right? Either a Pikmin 3 port or a Pikmin collection, or even a straight up Pikmin 4. Like I think we'll see that. I think we will see, just judging by the interview that just happened. I think we're gonna see some 3DS games make their way over, like some HD
The
3DS
Switch.
games.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Mario and Luigi collection.
oh yeah, that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And it may be crazy for me to say this, but I would be fine if they just did that only digitally and not physical. But knowing
That's
Nintendo,
fine.
no Nintendo, if they did like a 2-pack, like every 2 months, like for $50 and stuff,
Well,
like
let's see,
one
how
of their
many-
budgets.
How many are there? 5? There's 5 of them, right? There's Superstar Saga. There's Partners in Time, Bowser's Inside Story, Dream Team, and Paper Jam. Am I missing any of them?
Paper Jam was in Mario Luigi.
Yeah, it was. Sticker Star was the Paper Mario game, but Paper Jam was the mix of Mario and Luigi and Paper Mario.
Hmm. Oh, that is right. Cause what the other one, the other Paper Mario was for Wii U.
Yeah, Color Splash.
Color Splash.
So,
Cause they mix the Mario Luigi and the Mario and Luigi as Paper Mario. They mix those two art styles together.
yeah.
Correct. Okay.
So, but I bet we either get a new one or a port of one of them. I bet we get a Samus Returns port next year.
They would be crazy not to do that. Samus Return and Link Between Worlds.
I mean,
they'd be crazy not to put it on.
I think a lot of those late 3DS games, just because they sold so poorly. Like, I mean, Metroid didn't hit 1 million units. The last Mario and Luigi sold so bad that Alpha Dream is now going bankrupt. I don't think the original Luigi's Mansion sold well, even though we're getting 3. I don't think we're going to get Luigi's Mansion next year because we just got 3. But like, you know what I mean? Like a lot of these 3DS games.
Are you talking about Dark Moon?
No, the remake didn't sell well at all.
Oh, okay.
Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn or whatever didn't sell well. Right, like a lot of these late 3DS games did not sell well, and I feel really bad for those games. So I bet we see some of
even
those.
the Pikmin one that people thought. I mean, I didn't get a chance to get it. The Pikmin one, even though I wanted to, I just didn't have time to get it.
I mean, there's a lot of 3DS games that I really wanted, but like after the Switch came out, it was really hard to go back to 3DS. Right, it was just really hard. And I tried to go back to some Fire Emblem games because I was getting ready for Fire Emblem. I tried Luigi's Mansion. I tried the Mario and Luigi games. Like there was just a lot of games that I tried to go back to, and it was so hard to go back to after Switch because the Switch screen is so nice and the system is just so nice. That,
yes.
Not that like I have a 2DS XL, right? Like we did on old content, we did an unboxing video, which was cool on the podcast. But like the 2DS is super nice and it's sleek and it looks nice and it's sturdy and the games are fun, But after the Switch came out, I was like, I can't go back. So
I mean, I could still go back because I feel like there are some 3DS games that I miss. And I will play them.
I think the 3DS and the DS have fantastic libraries, and like that is awesome little system, right? Like even for virtual console stuff. But it's just like if I have Fire Emblem on Switch, I'm not going back to the 3DS ones now because it's just so good. Although Fire Emblem Fates, remember the one episode we talked about Fire Emblem Fates HD when they were like it was rumored to be ported. And all 3 games were going to be on one cartridge, and we got so excited.
And then nothing came through. I'm surprised. Well, I think Metroid Samus Returns, I think that sold well, but it wasn't like a big hit.
It didn't even hit 1 million units. I was looking some of that stuff up when they said, "Hey, we're going to be porting a lot of 3DS games, right?" And
because. Well, and I know, definitely Metroid is not big in Japan, but I know it's big here in America, and I don't know how Europe does, but I think it's so decent enough for.
I think it sold 680,000 copies,
and that's good.
I mean,
for a $40 game. I mean,
yeah, but it also, it. For a system that has like a 70 million unit install base, I don't think it was great, honestly. And I feel bad, but
that same argument could be said about Sony and Microsoft. So
I know. I mean, I'm not saying like it's a Nintendo only problem, but I'm just it's it's one of those things that you kind of have to look at and be like, is it worth porting this over? Because I think people would really like that Samus Returns on Switch, even if it, like, even if they like even right when the Switch came out, right? We were like, what if they just came out with like a greatest hits line from like Wii U, 3DS, and port these games over, right? Like,
Yes.
and I think somebody that's in our groups and kind of friend of the show, even though he hasn't been on, Frank Clark, posted like this image of all the Wii U games that were, could be ported to Switch, and it had like the Wii U logo but in a Switch box, right? And most of them made it over. To be honest, New Super Mario, in that image, I know Bayonetta 2, New Super Mario Brothers U, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I'm pretty sure they were like Captain Toad was in that image, but like, the Zelda games and Mario 3D World, like all the main huge Wii U games were. It was but like I think over half of them in that image made it over, and it was just really like I could see, especially like you look at you said A Link Between Worlds comes over, like should come over, right? Like you look at the way that Link's Awakening was received.
Yeah,
people would eat the crap out of that game. They would love that game, right? And it's a fantastic game on 3DS, right? You should definitely play it.
It literally took Game of the Year when it came out. Yeah. That was shocking.
GameSpot gave it Game of the Year, which, don't get me wrong, good game, but a little shocking that a 3DS game took Game of the Year that year.
I think, was it? I might have to actually research. I think there was two 3DS games took Game of the Year. I'll have to check.
But that's our thought on that. We're going to move on to the next question. Deshaun Malone writes in. Our dude, Deshaun.
Yes.
Now that Luigi's Mansion is out and is getting lots of critical acclaim, I want to know what y'all think about Nintendo's balance of handheld versus console experiences on the Switch. Do y'all think they lean more one way or the other?
I don't think they lean either way, because they know how to do. I know they know how to do console and handheld very well. They've been doing it for a long time, ever since even the Game Boy came out. So I think they've been able to balance each other with different games, different content, and if you kind of got to think about it, like Nintendo's making $100+ some dollars when a game comes out for a console and 3DS and people buy them, and so I mean, I think Nintendo knows what they're doing when they're bringing out products for their handhelds and for their consoles, and they try to work both of them together. So if you miss Luigi's Mansion 3, hey, here goes Samus Returns for $29.99. Oh, I'm gonna get that. That goes straight to Nintendo's pocket, and later on they'd be like, hey, we got an eShop discount for Luigi's Mansion. I'm gonna get it for $49.99. People will still get it up. So now, even though they didn't get that $100, they still got to sell off of,
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot of games that actually. Oh, that was weird. My cat just sneezed. It was strange. I think Nintendo does a great job of balancing like a console experience with the handheld experience for Switch. Like you look at a game like Zelda, right? Breath of the Wild at launch, right? A huge sprawling action open world game that you could sit and play it on the TV for 8 or 10 hours, or you could play it in handheld mode on, in a car for 15 or 20 minutes and get 1 or 2 shrines done and still feel accomplished, right? Like,
yeah,
that's the balance that Switch has done such a great job of hitting this generation. Mario Odyssey, Finding Moons, Fire Emblem is another fantastic example. Luigi's Mansion, I think, is going to be a great example. I haven't played it yet, but I think it's a great example. Mario Maker. I think Mario Maker probably leans a little bit more handheld just because the touchscreen is way more useful than pointing the Joy-Con at the TV. But you know, you balance those style games with games like Splatoon, right? Like a major competitive multiplayer shooter, or Smash, or Hellblade, like these major like console style games with, you know, a Captain Toad or a Mario Maker, or, you know, a lot of these indie games are perfect for handheld mode, right? Like that's,
Yes.
a lot of people prefer the handheld mode of the Switch for indie games because they're just so, for lack of better terms, cute on the tiny screen, you know? And then, you know, who would have thought that something like The Witcher would exist next to Mario plus Rabbids, which would exist next to Hyper Light Drifter,
Yes.
and I Am Setsuna, and, you know, Mutant Year Zero, and Rayman Legends, and Shovel Knight, and Mario Odyssey. Like, the Switch has such a fantastic combination of games that lean one way or the other, or they have games that lean into both. So
Yeah.
I think Nintendo's doing a fantastic job of balancing that. I prefer to play my Switch on the TV, right? Like, but it's nice to take it out of the dock and be able to play games while I'm not able to play games. You know, I've had that conversation with you hundreds of times on this show, you know, sometimes multiple times an episode, where, you know, I will sit down and play, like when I got the Switch, right? I played Zelda constantly in handheld mode, but when my wife went to bed, I would pop it in the dock and play it on the TV, and I was like, wow, look at this, you know, like it was, I love the Switch so much, and you know, it's come out on a lot of other podcasts that we do together or separately or whatever. Like it's just, that's why I mean, not the Switch specifically, but Nintendo's consoles are why we started Nintendo Power Block in the first place.
And it's crazy how Switch Lite is actually playing a role in the Switch lifespan too, because people are just like, I'm always at work, I'm always on the go, I don't get that much time on TV, so I'm going to buy me a Switch Lite and still get the same experience like everybody else. You know, getting this portable gaming on the go.
It's so strange too to see the Nintendo Switch Lite like becoming people's quote unquote second Switch.
Yeah.
Because people, even though you can take the Switch with you, like people are using using the Switch Lite as their quote primary one, and then leaving their old Switch docked, you know, connected to the internet so they can play all their games, right? Like it's so weird that people want a second Switch to take with them, even though you can actually take it with you. And that's where, like, I think the Switch is like, or the Switch Lite is kind of like secretly kind of just diabolical.
It's the PlayStation Vita digital version. Because I think with a Switch Lite, you just get a big SD card, micro SD card, like the biggest you could get for the deal. And I think that's a system right there that just go all digital on it. You know, rack up your points and stuff. Like, because I'm like, if you're a person who's always on the go and stuff, and you can't get into the store, at least you could like do your pre-orders. You could get it day and date, like on Thursdays, or you could get some good discounts and stuff. And like those Nintendo coins, they add up. When you don't think about it, you be like, I got $15. Oh, I could buy me. Oh,
you know how many indie games I've bought with those coins just because like I can use them and not feel bad about buying an indie game. It's really nice. So I really like the look of the Switch Lites. I actually saw one for the first time the other day. And they're really nice. I like the design, like whatever the next version of the Switch is, right? Like a Pro version or whatever.
Yeah.
I hope they use the design of the Switch Lite. Like I don't need the Joy-Cons, right? Like they're nice, they're interesting, and I'll keep them for like Mario Party or whatever, but like I hope the Pro version of the Switch uses the Switch Lite's like the body of the Switch Lite and just like let having a connected console, right? Like where the Joy Cons don't come off and a proper D pad and anything like and you know what I mean? Am I making
Yeah,
sense? Okay, I couldn't
yeah.
think of
I,
like what I was
I,
trying to say.
I actually would love to see the two versions of the Pro,
Yeah.
where you can get the Joy Cons off, or you could get like the Lite version,
I mean, they did
where your
that. They
Joy
did that
Cons are
for the
still.
3DS, right? Like, they had the faceplate, the ones with the faceplates, and then they had the ones
Yeah.
that were just like, you don't have to take the faceplates off, right? Like, they've done that before, so I could see them doing that. Although the Joy Cons are probably making buku bucks off the Joy Cons because I can't imagine that
Oh,
those things cost $80 to make. So
I would buy the Joy-Con one.
I stole
Trust me.
I stole an ed term, buku bucks. So, but yeah, just to wrap up this conversation, I think Nintendo's doing a great job of balancing the handheld versus the console market and doing it very well for the most part in a lot of games. So,
Yes.
I do think the one criticism of it is like, I mean, not Nintendo themselves, but some third party and indie games. Like, I wish their text was a little bit bigger on the handheld. Like, I wish there's some sort of like internal thing that said, "Hey, can you make the text bigger when you're in full screen?" Like, I know Assassin's Creed 3 has this problem, and Hellblade has a little bit of this problem, but just as examples, it's not just them, but I do wish the text was a little bit bigger in handheld mode. So, our next question comes from Max Dyson. Dyson, I hope I'm saying your name right. That sounds right, but with all these Pokemon leaks, do you think it's warranted, or do you think a small Pokedex is fine? I think he probably means is the anger warranted, or do you think a small Pokedex is fine? And are you excited? Personally, I'm more excited that the Pokedex is smaller because it means there's less work for me to do with my limited amount of time.
I can actually tell you this. I really don't care for the Pokedex. I I try to catch as much Pokemon on all the games. That every time I play, I just really try to catch them. And because I don't check the Pokedex, it doesn't do anything for me. So, but I'm super excited for Sword and Shield. Just in general, anytime Pokemon comes out, I'm excited. I don't care what the reception is. I have to have it. It's one of the series that it's just like this needs to be in my library. And if it's not in library, like I'm even upset at myself. I don't have Let's Go, Pikachu, and Eevee, and I want those games. But Sword and Shield, I was just like, I need this now in my library.
Yeah.
But for the Pokedex thing, I'm not upset about it. I just don't care. Give it to me, make it big, make it small, do whatever y'all want to do. My thing is, I'm out in the world collecting Pokemon, grinding, building them up, playing other players, experiencing this world and this story, laughing at some things, being amazed at the art, listening to the music. There's a whole combination just of Pokemon that I like, and the Pokedex is kind of like the least thing I have an affinity for. So
Yeah, I mean, I usually find Pokemon that I like and that I'll use, and the only Pokemon game I got all of them was Red and Blue, right? Like I did it twice, and I was like, I can't do this again. So even like Gold and Silver, I felt like it was a chore to get all of them, and there was only 250 of them then. So, but honestly, a smaller Pokedex, I think, just besides like a personal and a selfish standpoint, like I think for the developers it's easier to balance a game when there's less, right? You think of a fighting game where there's 12 fighters, 14 fighters at launch, and then they add them, like how hard it is to balance those fighters, and then you get to Pokemon, and like I know it's not really the same thing, but like when you have almost 900 monsters, like that's got to be incredibly difficult to balance, and like these ones aren't great, but these ones are overpowered, and how do you balance that, and how do you launch the game with it, right? Like with a competitive game like that, like it's probably incredibly difficult to balance. And I think having a smaller window to develop an HD Pokemon game mixed with
Uh-huh.
balancing it against all these monsters, like smaller Pokedex is probably okay.
Yes.
So I'm still excited. I think this is the most interesting Pokemon has looked to me in years, despite the fact that it's on a console and makes me even more excited for that. But
Yeah, I had to actually yell at, not yell, but like scream at one of my Twitter friends, be like, "You must stay pure. You cannot check the leaks out." He's just like, "I already see some of them." I was like, "But I still want the game." I was just like, "No."
I don't even know what the leaks are. I didn't even look.
I
Cause like I'm not that interested.
yeah.
I mean, I'm excited, but I'm not interested. I'm not so excited that I'm like watching every trailer or anything. I think I'm like, it's Pokemon in a new region. I think the new region looks cool. So let's just go with that. So
Exactly.
our next question comes from Terrell Jackson from our Facebook group. Remember, you can join the NX Project's Facebook group and interact with fans and friends there. It's a good
And
time.
I want to give a little notice about this, everybody. This is my play brother. He's not my real brother or anything, but like we grew up in the same area, so we've been like kind of best friends for a long time. So I call him my play brother. I'm older than him, but like yeah.
Nice.
So
Always fun to have those. I have a friend like that. So he says, as we start to see the next gen of game consoles and the different things that these companies create, and knowing that Nintendo has been arguably the top innovators in the gaming community, what do you think Nintendo will bring to the table that will be able to compete with the Xbox 2 and the PS5 if the once the Switch starts to drop off?
so I think what Nintendo is going to continue to bring is just games. They're
Yeah.
just going to continue to bring innovative, creative, artistic games. And what Scarlet and PS5 won't bring uh, is they won't bring the games that Nintendo will bring. They're trying to push for a mature audience base. So, you know,
Which is, fine.
which
Like,
is fine, but they're trying to sell people off of graphics and nothing else. And with graphics, that's more cinematic trailers that they're trying to sell off.
so you're telling me
Yeah.
that PlayStation 5 is going to launch with a gritty reboot of Knack?
I would love to see that happen.
I do
but
not want to see that happen. I played
but
Knack 1. It was not fun.
Neck one is okay. Neck two was good. I really enjoyed Neck two. I think PlayStation 5 and Scarlet, they're trying to, and I still have my doubts because I'm not saying that they can't do 40K 60 frames per second or anything like that. My thing is I want to see this actual running in real time, real gameplay. That's going to bring not only just what this thing can do technically and graphically, but how it affects the gameplay, how it could really draw in the storytelling, how the cinematic thing that they're going for really plays a part into what you're going to be experiencing as the game. Because the stuff like that Nintendo can't do because they're focused more on, just getting anybody to play and having fun and having a good time and stuff. Nintendo's not all about ray tracing. They're not truly about 60 frames per second or
Although most of their
4K
games
yet.
besides Zelda run at 60 frames. Mario, Luigi's Mansion, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, I think does, or it's above 30. I don't know if it's 60, but Fire Emblem does. There's a lot of games that run at 60 on Switch from Nintendo. Mario Kart, Smash, those games. So, but to play off that too, though, I don't know if Nintendo's really competing with them, right? Like I think they're okay being like, okay, this person's going to buy an Xbox or a PlayStation. Let's just make sure their second console is a Switch, right? Like, you
Yes.
know what I mean? Like, and you know, I don't think Nintendo really cares what Xbox and PlayStation are doing, you know, and I think that works to their advantage at this point. And you
Right.
know, as long as Nintendo keeps pushing the indies and keeps pushing their first party and having good relationships with third party and getting cool games like you know, Tokyo Mirage Sessions is coming, which I'm very excited for. I'm actually looking at the eShop page for that right now. Dude, Tokyo Mirage Sessions is such a good game. I hope people pick it up on Switch because
I think
it's
they
awesome.
will.
Yeah. And you know, as long as they keep having proper third party support, like someone we didn't mention, but Ubisoft, right? Going back to the first question from Greg, what do you think we'll be getting next year? I think we're going to get a Mario plus Rabbids sequel next year.
Yeah.
And Ubisoft has been very generous on Switch too. You know, with Starlink, and Starlink is the best Star Fox game we've had since arguably 64. You know, in the grand scheme of things, I know Zero was what it was, and Assault was okay, and what was the other one? Adventure was
Oh,
Star Fox Zelda.
let's not
but
mention
not
that
as
game.
good. It wasn't terrible. It just wasn't
It
wasn't a Star Fox
was
game.
questionable content. Oh,
You didn't like
no.
Tricky the Triceratops?
That game is questionable content, and I will leave it at that.
Dude, you know what's funny? On the back of my Nintendo 64 box, not GameCube, Nintendo 64,
Uh,
is an advertisement for Dinosaur Planet, which ended up turning into Star Fox Adventure on GameCube.
that is right.
So,
Yes.
I have a really cool piece of history on my Nintendo 64 box.
Nice.
But yeah, man, I think as long as Nintendo keeps bringing the games, and you know, they already have weapons in their arsenal to take on Xbox and PlayStation anyway, with Zelda and Metroid and Bayonetta, and probably a Mario Odyssey 2 at some point. You know, probably another Kirby game, probably another Mario Party. I would be shocked if we didn't get another Mario Kart this gen. You know, so they've got weapons, and the Switch is a hit, and I think people
And,
love
and
the Switch anyway. So
and don't forget, Nintendo and Microsoft still got a great relationship going on, regardless of Microsoft saying
Yeah.
that don't think we're not going to bring all our games, or we're not going to bring all our stuff. But
I know Microsoft specifically said they have, quote, no plans to bring any more games to Switch, but they said that after Minecraft, they said that after Cuphead, and they said that after Ori, right? Like,
right,
they're going to bring more
Like-
games to Switch because
like-
just because of that relationship alone, you know, I could see the 3 Banjo games making their way over, right? I could see a Perfect
Right.
Dark port. You know, like not that they are announced, but
Nintendo cares for Microsoft and Microsoft indies. They don't care for their first party.
Yeah.
Didn't nobody care? Nobody was crying for Gears 5. Nobody was crying for Halo to be on Switch.
No.
Everybody was talking about, can we get Ori and Cuphead?
No, if
That's the stuff that they
if
want.
they did bring some sort of pared down Master
Sea of
Chief
Thieves.
collection to Switch, I would be all over that. But
Well, which one?
the Master Chief collection,
Oh, I think Sea of Thieves will go mostly on Switch. Then Master the Halo collection.
no, I know Halo's not coming to Switch. I know. You know, I know that's not going to run on Switch, but like I think it would be really fun to see something like that make its way over at some point. But
Probably Halo Wars or something like that.
Halo Wars would actually be a pretty cool game to have on Switch.
Yeah.
You know, it wouldn't be the first RTS. You know, Civ I think is on Switch now, and so, but you know, I think Nintendo has a lot to bring to the table to compete with them. Although I do not think
Yes.
they're going to try to compete with them directly because I think that would be a mistake for them, and I think they know it's a mistake to compete
And,
directly. And
and I think PS5 and Scarlet really won't be getting the ball rolling to get like a lot of out of that system into the 2 years. While Nintendo Switch, I think is still going to be bringing things out. If there is a Pro and some upgrades, they're going to probably still be bringing out more powerful things that they could put on. And then, Nintendo's just like, okay, let's get in this room, let's do our R&D stuff, and let's innovate.
Mhm.
What can we make for the next hit of our console?
So we're gonna move on to our next question from Todd Oxtra of Secret Friends Unite. Or I'm about halfway through this week's Min Max podcast,
Uh,
and I know he supports them on Patreon, and his, as they call him, Todd Oakstra. It was really funny. I was like, oh, I know that guy. But it was really funny. Sorry, Todd. I just had to poke fun. It was a good time. It was just really funny to hear your name mispronounced on the show. It was funny.
and they're in the same city,
I
in
know.
the same city,
I know.
Minnesota.
That's why it's fun.
No, you Todd.
I love Todd. We got to get him on here at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
Would you? He asks. By the way, if you haven't listened to Secret Friends Unite or Co-op Mode, you should go listen to those podcasts. They're so much fun.
Yes.
Would you rather have GameCube remasters or the originals on the online service?
I would rather have GameCube remasters.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the easy answer, right? With modernized controls and widescreen support and 720 or 1080p, a better frame rate for most games. Like I think that's the easy answer. Although you wouldn't have to pay for them if they were on the originals were on the online service. So, dude,
Right.
if they just made if they just made a GameCube like an HD GameCube, and all the games were in widescreen and HD, like I don't know if I would ever need another console.
Well, it's you would have to go back. See, this is the thing about it. You would have to go back and look at what Nintendo did with those games, with the art and everything.
No, I know. I think they were very creative on the GameCube. We got
Yes.
really cool innovations like Pikmin and out of the box thinking. Like people forget at the time, Metroid was only a 2D side scroll, and they made it a first person shooter / adventure game, right?
And looking at the detail that Retro put into Metro Prime, the first one is insane.
and you can go online and look up YouTube videos, and like they people have gone into the code and like up-res the game, but like even at the time all those assets were rendered in HD. Like
Yeah.
they were all rendered in 1080p at the time and just downscaled, right? That's why there's so much detail, and when people up-res it to 4K and 60 frames a second, holy crap. Like it is one of the most technically impressive games I've seen, and from that era, and it has a lot of Halo 4 vibes on it. Like you can see where some of that art team from Retro went to 343 to make Halo 4, right? And
Yeah.
which is funny because last week we actually talked about that and how now the Halo art team is at least one of the artists is moving over to be the lead artist on Metroid, right?
Metroid.
And,
Yeah.
but you see a lot of that influence, and it's insane, And then we got two fantastic Zelda games. I still stand by that Twilight Princess is a great Zelda game.
Oh yeah.
I know that beginning can be a slog, but it's not that bad. It's not.
No, it's not that bad.
It's, I know a lot of people on the internet like to over exaggerate things, and that is definitely one of them, right? And even people like to go back to Wind Waker and say that opening area is a slog. I'm like, you're gonna criticize Twilight Princess but not Wind Waker, And like some people have started to go back and say Wind Waker's opening is a little bit of a slog, but like I think Twilight Princess's opening is way more interesting than Wind Waker's opening.
Like Eternal Darkness getting a remaster, definitely fixing all of those controls.
Oh.
That game, the controls in that game needs to be fixed. They can still up-res it. They can still do the camera angles. Well, no, fix the camera angles too.
I would like a reimagining of Eternal Darkness where like you use the modernized controls, like you said, the modernized controls, but also like change stuff on your TVs. Like you could change the input on your TV, like fake the inputs on your TV.
Yes.
They could do a lot of interesting stuff and like use the HD rumble in interesting ways and make you do certain things with that. Like I think they could do a lot of interesting things with Eternal Darkness today.
So I'm going to get yelled at about this one, but Panic Button, get with Nintendo and redo Geist.
Oh gosh, Geist!
Like
I own that game, dude. Like it's no joke. I own that game.
I never got to play that game, but I'm interested. It was kind of cool to see that Nintendo was taking a risk with a game like this, and I think Panic Button could bring it justice or something. Like I think it was too early and too different for Nintendo. I think in this time and age that we're more acceptable of some first-person shooters and quirky gameplay mechanics like that, I think that game could probably work. It'll be a good game to see from an old age of gaming in this modern day. Like I could see Panic Button really doing Geist some justice.
Man, Geist. Wow, that's kind of
because I already want Tales of Symphonia.
I mean, they already remastered that in HD for PS3, right? Like they could easily bring that over.
And Namco Bandai, I don't know what the world they're doing. I want that game on Switch. I literally want it on Switch.
Yeah, I mean we got Tales of Vesperia, which is a decent Tales game.
But we want Symphonia. Everybody.
I mean, I know Tales of Symphonia is the best one in my opinion, but
I want chocolate. Oh, chocolate. I love Tales of Symphonia. I can't help it.
That's funny. That just makes me
and Tales of Graces F. If you have not played Tales of Graces F, hook up your PlayStation 3 and get that game. Like that game is amazing.
Oh boy, is it amazing enough to update your PlayStation 3? Oh man, I thought about I thought about my PlayStation 3 the other day, and I'm like, I wonder where it's at. that was about it. I was listening to a PlayStation podcast, and I was like, I wonder where my PlayStation 3 is at. And then I was like, no, I don't.
I still have mine, it's just not hooked up.
I have it somewhere. I don't have a controller for it because I was packing it away and I dropped the only controller I had and it broke. Like shattered. Just shattered. Dude, DualShock 3s are just pieces of garbage.
Yeah.
They're so bad.
Yeah, that is true. And the DualShock 4 is no better, so let's keep it moving.
Oh, it's a little better, but
I had to buy 4 of them. I'm already on my 4th one.
The Xbox One the controller is the best controller on the market right now. So, anyways, back to the GameCube discussion. I thoroughly think that I would really like to have some HD remasters of GameCube games. I think a lot of those games, at the time, we wanted sequels to Nintendo 64 games, right? Like we wanted a Mario 128, we wanted a Ocarina of Time sequel with better graphics, like you know what I mean? And people didn't really appreciate what was happening on the GameCube at the time. And I think in today's kind of market or whatever, like with the rise of indie games and smaller games and art direction and storytelling, like I think a lot of those GameCube games would be appreciated way more today than they were back then. So, I mean, you look at a game like Beautiful Joe, I think would be appreciated now.
Oh heck yeah!
The 3 of the Capcom 5 that's not Resident Evil. Like PNO3, I think, would be pretty interesting to go back to. I think there's a lot there that people would really love. I'm surprised they didn't move Donkey Kongo over to Switch it with the Joy-Cons and just make you go like this with them. That game's so dumb. Don't ask me. Don't ask me why I have 3 pairs of bongos when you can only use 2. Just don't. Donkey Konga 1, Donkey Konga 2, and Donkey Kong Jungle Beat all came with bongos, okay? And I own them all, so shut up.
I have no worries.
Oh, man, those games are so bad. They're so
Are
bad.
you sure?
They're very bad. But yeah, I love the GameCube, man. The GameCube's so good. I actually bought, like, before even the Wii U was getting the GameCube adapter for Smash.
Uh-huh.
I remember they re-released like some white GameCube controllers and black ones, and I bought one of each, and I'm so glad I did, because those things were $25 a piece, and now the white one specifically goes for like $140.
Ooh.
Brand new. So yeah. All right, we're going to go to our last question here. Michael Granderson writes in. He says, what are some remasters or ports you personally want to see on the Switch? Could be from now or previous generations, third or first party. I know you've probably answered this question before, but I like the convos. So,
Well, I already said one of the questions in the last one.
I mean,
because this is for the HD.
Ed already got Okami HD, so.
Let's say. I mean, we had this convo so many times from different companies.
I mean, I would really. I think the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation have a lot of fantastic third-party games that probably deserve a second life. Like, I would really love to see Mass Effect, and like this goes back to like a remastered style thing. Like, I wish they would clean up Mass Effect 1's combat, because that story is so good, and make the combat kind of match the other 2 games. But that would take so much work. I feel like that I mean, even if we just got like a quote unquote remaster, I would be okay with that. But like, I think that the story in Mass Effect 1 is so good.
I would like to see Armored Core. I would like something from Software to come to Switch.
Yeah.
And I think the Armored Core series will work. Even Virtual On. I think because of the Joy-Cons and moving them around, not Steel Battalion, not stuff like that. Well, Steel Battalion might work.
That's so,
but
dude, what if we got a Nintendo Labo kit for Steel Battalion?
I will watch that happen.
How funny would that be, man? If we just got this massive cardboard kit for Steel Battalion.
I would wonder how many people will buy it just Marvel at them.
I think people will buy it just to see how big the cardboard kit is.
But yeah, I mean, of course, I would love to see arcade games. Like, I would love to see Killer Instinct come to Switch. The actual arcade version that Rare and Midway did, and Killer Instinct 2 arcade version. Like a lot of the arcade games that never came to console, or when they did come to console, they got kind of toned down. I would love to see that. Of course, me and Corey would just automatically agree towards the time. Like, we always talk about that. So that's given.
And not the Xbox Live remake, the reshelled one. That game was really bad. I mean, it wasn't bad. It just wasn't good. Like, I want Turtles in Time. I want the Super Nintendo game just ported. I don't want any changes to it. I don't need it to be in widescreen. I want it to be 4 players. Like, I think the Super Nintendo version 4 players would be awesome. I want the Super Nintendo version specifically, by the way. The arcade version's good, right? Like, they changed a lot in the Super Nintendo version, especially the second half of the
Mm.
game. But I think the Super Nintendo version is so good. But I would want it to be 4 players. I think a 4-player Turtles in Time would be awesome. And if you want to make it widescreen, I'm not gonna fight you on that. But yeah, I think Turtles in Time is the perfect brawler.
Yeah, and it give me Terminator Fighters for that also. Um,
Tournament Fighter.
Parodius, I always talk about one of the games from Konami in Japan. I would like for that to come over. Uh, Maybe some 3D World games that really did work, that work
Give
well on
us
that system.
give us remasters of the Zelda games on the 3DS.
Oh,
Wand of Gamelon, everybody. Woo.
yes.
Animation's so bad now in HD. Dude, those animations were so bad. Dude, they were worse than the cartoon, dude. Like, they were just so bad. I don't understand how you can, like, I bet my kid could probably animate better than that, and she's 1.5, so.
Spec Ops: The Line
Oh,
is
yeah,
another
Spec
one.
Ops The Line.
Like,
It's so good.
I think Spec Ops: The Lines. I think that will work on Switch, and I think the sales will garner for a follow up to that game if they want to do a new story.
Well,
Like,
it's funny because Spec Ops The Line isn't even the first game in that series. It's like the 5th or 6th game in that series.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's a standalone story, don't get me wrong, but, like, Spec Ops has been around for a while.
Well, wow, yes.
But,
Um,
man, dude, Spec Ops The Line is so good. We need to do a pod and play on Spec Ops.
well, that's the first one that we discussed.
I
Like, that's
know.
on the list of us doing it.
I know, but
Um,
we need to get, we should probably get Jesse in on that and Ray. Like, I think, man, that game's so good. It's such a good game.
Yeah, Spec Ops: The Line is really good.
It's weird though, because like the part I want to talk about in that game doesn't happen until like a couple hours in, like where you start to see it transition from a generic third-person cover-based shooter into what the game becomes, and it's like that game is so powerful, and the message it sends is just
Okay, so everybody, hear me out. So I think we still do pot and play for Spec Out the Lines, but then we play it to the part that you want to get to, and then talk about that part, or actually do that part on the NX show live, or not live, but like recorded. So that's like a special, in a way, NX show, and we talk about it while playing.
Well, what we could do is a video game book club on it,
We can.
because I know Jesse kind of wants, and I kind of do too. I want to do Controls like our first one, but I think we could do a Spec Ops: The Line video game book club on it.
So we could do both of them.
Yeah.
So,
So.
well, we got the Gradius collection, but there's some 2D shooters, definitely like from Namco Bandai. Like I would love the Double Dragon series to come over. They could keep the NES version of 3. That game is okay. This is a game that I have to claim garbage on. Go watch that if you have not seen the NES version of Dragon Quest of Double Dragon 3. Go watch it and understand the mechanics and how unfair that game is. I could do the Double Dragon 3 the arcade because it's our arcade game, but the NES version, nah. I'm good. I'm lucky that Double Dragon and Double Dragon 2 is on the NES Online. I love the fact that that's there. Double Dragon 3 could kick rocks for all I care.
Pass.
Yeah. The Final Fight collection, I would love to see Final Fight 1 to 3. Comic Zone, like from the Sega Genesis. Even the X-Men game, probably for the Sega Genesis. Eternal Champions, like. I'm an old school gamer. I have a wealth of knowledge about games that I play. I would love to see some TurboGrafx game, like goodness, Keith Courage and Alpha Zone. I would love to see that on Switch, and then actually come back. I kind of would like to see Mad World from Platinum and Sega, and just to see how
Mad World would be a good one. I think that art style would really benefit from an HD kind of upgrade.
Yes,
I think that is a strong choice.
Kind of crazy. Mad World and Lollipop Chainsaw coexisting.
Oh
They're
gosh.
coming out.
Remember the game that he did after Lollipop Chainsaw was Shadows of the Damned.
Yeah,
That game
and
was weird.
I have it on PS3, and I brought it for 360 also because I want to finish that game.
That game is
Uh,
super interesting. I actually recommend you check that out because that game is actually really. It's like a horror comedy almost.
mhm.
It's really an interesting game. I think should not be looked past. So
and Killer 7. I would love to see. I think it would be cool to get the Capcom 5
yeah,
on Switch. I mean, we already got one of them, which is Resident Evil 4. But yeah, Beautiful Joe, like you mentioned, Killer 7, PS03, or no, PN03, I think that's the name of it. And then they had one game called Dark Phoenix, but it got canceled. So I wonder what that would be if they made that and it came out for Switch. Like, I would love to see that.
yeah. I wonder. So,
And
but
DMC Devil May Cry.
oh yeah, DMC is like a no-brainer. I think that game deserves to come over. Also, Tomb Raider.
Oh yes,
I would love to see the new Tomb Raider games come over. So
yeah. I actually got an update for Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I'll see what that is.
yeah, I think they added some stuff for the 1 year anniversary. I think.
Okay, because I think I brought the DLC like for $20.
Yeah.
The season pass stuff. Because I know the definitive edition just came out, so interesting.
But that's kind of all I have. I don't really know what else I would really want. I do want pretty much everything on Switch, and I know we talked a lot about 3DS games coming over, first party games coming over from other consoles. There's not really a lot of third party games that we haven't mentioned that I would want.
Let's see. I
mean,
know
I think Dead Space would be a really interesting game.
Dead
to come over.
Space, Burnout Takedown, and Burnout Paradise.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised when they remastered Burnout Paradise that they didn't make a Switch version. I mean, I know EA is not supporting Switch, but that game seems like a easy kind of move, especially because there's not a huge racing presence on Switch. It's Mario Kart and then like a lot of these kind of indie style kart racers and Crash. I guess Crash Team Racing is the other big kind of racing game on the Switch, but Mario Kart's really the racing game,
Yes. Does anybody want Midnight Club?
Actually, you know what I really do want on Switch, to be 100% honest with you? The PSP version of Final Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
That War of the Lions or whatever that came out.
Yeah.
And it added the Final Fantasy 12 cast in it and a lot of extra missions and stuff. Like, I think War of the Lions would be a really cool add to Switch.
Yeah, I agree.
So
yeah.
By the way, if you guys have like a iPad or some sort of tablet device, War of the Lions is on every single tablet known to man, and you guys should try it out because it's $15. So.
Yeah. Oh, Advance Wars. Just like all of them, bring them on Switch. I would do it.
Codename Steam. Codename Steam.
Codename Steam. Do we want any of the Hitman games? Probably.
I mean, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
But
Alien Hominid.
Yeah, I feel like we're just naming games now.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, like Alien Hominid was a game that came on GameCube.
Yeah, I know.
And for people who know, what is the night one for character night one? Crash. Dang it. The people who make that game, that art style. Castle Crashers. Alien Hominid is like their kind of like first original well-known game that came to console. So
yeah,
it's hard, but I would love to see it.
I would also like to see Knights of the Old Republic and Jade Empire. two original Xbox games, which are very good. So
Ray wants Golden Sun, but Ray's not part of Nintendo Power Block at the moment. So
Ray's not getting Golden Sun. I will tell you that right now.
yes, but
he will have to dig out his Game Boy Advance for that puppy. So
yeah, but there's about like multiple consoles and handhelds who games could come to Switch. Like
I mean, we've gotten a lot of sequels on Switch where we didn't get the first game too. Like
yes,
like I would like to see like Rayman Origins, the first Wolfenstein. You know what I mean? Like we've like even like new Super Mario Brothers Wii. I would like to see. You know what I mean? Like we've gotten a lot of sequels without the first game, and I think it would be nice to kind of like see the first games.
Yes. So.
But anyways, I think that's gonna wrap up this episode. Unless you have anything else you want to talk about, Ed. I know we got some retro game show to record. So
yes. No, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. I want to thank everybody for listening to this question block episode of Nintendo Power Block. Remember, you can email the show at nintendopowerblock@gmail.com or follow our social media presence and check out the threads there to reply with your questions. Let's see. Oh, wait, no, this is going up the week I'm moving. I was going to say, never mind. We're not missing next week. The next episode that you hear, Ed and I are going to try to switch up the formula a little bit just to have like a little bit more casual style conversational podcast instead of a checklist of things. Question block's still going to exist, but I've been listening to a lot of podcasts that don't have a traditional structure. And Ed, I want to throw some things by you on the retro game show when we have that discussion. So
yes.
Anyways, I want to thank everybody for watching or listening. You can find the show every Saturday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time on your podcast service of choice on YouTube and Spotify. You can also check out the NX show, which Ed and I are also on with Jesse and Ray. We're going to try to get live shows back up and running in the next couple weeks as well. I know we haven't really been getting those out because of some technical hiccups that I've been having and have not found a decent workaround yet. So those will be coming back, though. And join our Facebook group and all these other things. So, Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode and Optional Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps. Check me out on Mixer and on Twitch at The Lyrical One, or just The Lyrical One.
Yeah. You can find me at CoreyNHC713 on Twitter. You can find me at CoreyNHC on Instagram and Mixer. I do plan to get back to streaming after this big move. We're kind of working on packing some stuff and getting ready, so I haven't, had time to stream. It's not that I don't want to. I just am. We're moving, so that's the big answer. So
yes,
I think that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share, rate, and review. Give us those 5 stars, and we will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, bye, everybody. Woohoo!